2, drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over.
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
Mackinac, he's got 3.
Up, Bears. So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. Hey, we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, aka YBK, Kevin Frazier, and I got a co-host. I got a special guest running up and down the hallway, the little manimal, aka Baron. We're hanging out. We're doing the thing. We're going to talk Texas Rangers baseball. Honestly, amidst now that we've accepted our fate, I think it's kind of fun to just get back to talking baseball. I feel like I've hated having this, like, are we going to get back in it? Are we not thing hanging over my head for a while now? And I think it's fun. It's just time to get back. Just take a deep breath and let's start talking about baseball. We got a ton of stuff to talk about today. We got questions and a little bit of really optimistic news for the Rangers as it relates to their big 2024 free agent signing, Chris Young. So we'll talk about that, all that and more here in just a sec. Don't forget to check us out social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out the website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
That's all one word.
That is a great place to find our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys. We cover all things Rangers minor league. Go check it out. Just $2 a month. Tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. And also you can see us on the Sports Fluent network as you see our intro on YouTube. Just go search Texas Rangers with the Boys. We pop up. Click subscribe. You can watch us just as well as listen to us. As always, my co-host, the 300-pound animal, a.k.a. Bull. How you doing, buddy? And are we still telling people social media? I haven't been on social media like 2 months now.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, I've kind of lightened the load on social media myself. Try to keep up with a little bit of the Twitter going on with the Texas Rangers with the Boys handle. But, yeah, no, a lot of life to live without social media these days, so I've been kind of having fun with it instead of worrying about. I'm not too overly concerned about what's going on in Texas wrestling politics. I don't really care. I didn't really care back when I was a wrestler, so why would I care now that I'm semi-retired and only taking real paydays? So, but anyways, I'm doing pretty good over here on. What is today? Today's Tuesday, man. Tuesday already, yeah. So it's Tuesday the, 15th, something like that. I don't know. Something like that. I think it's full moon, so go crazy, folks. Anyways, social media, if you do want to find me over there, Manimal Bull, Twitter, Manimal300, Instagram, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. Also, don't forget that Friday, October 18th, Matt War Pro, who you can find on social media at Matt War Pro. Matt War Pro Wrestling. I'm sorry, Matt War Pro Wrestling. They're going to be back at Martin House Brewing for their second show of the year at Martin House Brewing. They have 2 over at Martin House Brewing and about a handful over at the Southside Preservation Hall. Well, we're back to the Martin House Brewing location for the second year anniversary show. 2YA. So join Matt War Pro as they bring you all the hard-hitting pro wrestling action. They'll also have all the terrific beers from Martin House on tap, in stock. Take some home with you, whatever you want to do there. They're also going to have a food truck on site, so if you're hungry, bring your appetite. And if you got a sweet tooth, bring it out there because Starry's Ice Cream will be there. And we talk about it every time on the show. Best ice cream in Texas, best ice cream in DFW, whatever you want to call it. It's that. It's, so we love the Starry's Ice Cream. We love the Martin House Brew. We love Matt War Pro Wrestling. So join them Friday, October 18th for their second year anniversary show, 2YA.
2YA. Man, oh man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a shindig. Well, let's get right into it, man. We did 5 minutes intro there. Go us. Go boy. Go the boys. Only real roster.
We did it.
We did it. Only real roster. Actually, you know what? Let's kick it off with something more juicy. Chris Young, our newest free agent signing, the biggest free agent signing in the history of the Texas Rangers, because it led to the other biggest free agent signings in Texas Rangers history. We bring him back, president of baseball ops. I feel like we're like big shots now in the Ranger world. We have used to be the player rep for the NFLPA. Many people think he could have been the next commissioner. Comes to Texas, gets us a world championship. Now he's head of baseball operations. I feel like we got we hit the jackpot when it comes to getting the right guy in our front office. John Daniels, we make fun of him a lot, but he was a great guy. I think he was the forerunner and made a lot of what's going on right now with this Rangers team possible.
Well, and also remember,
you know.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say also, don't forget that John Daniels took over a mess from John Hart. Remember that? The John Hart, what was that bald guy who used to own the Rangers? Remember him? He owned the Rangers and the Stars and like Arsenal or something in the or Liverpool or something like that. Tom Hicks, right? Wasn't that his name? Remember Tom Hicks when he owned the Rangers? How he brought John Hart in here, and John Hart had done such a great job with Cleveland that everybody thought he was going to turn this thing around, and it just was backfire after backfire after backfire. And by the time John Daniels came in here with bringing in Ron Washington and all that, so John Daniels, it was a tough task when he came aboard. He brought the team as close as you can get to the promised land in 2011. And, his fingerprints are all over the 2023 championship as well. So, but I think the point of this was we were going to talk about CY heading to Japan to watch Rocky Sasaki pitch for the Lottie Mariners or whatever over in Japan. But he's definitely, if he's coming out or if he's coming over to the States this year, and you got to jump in on it because it's going to be similar to like the Ohtani style deal a couple of years ago, where you're getting him on a minor league contract, or not a minor league, but like that initial major league where you get 5 years of service before they're really even eligible to be a free agent. So you're going to get that for sure. And you're going to get it at a reasonable price the first couple of years.
Yeah. I love these kind of deals because you're getting high quality talent at a great pay rate. So there's going to be a ton of competition for him. But I think the Rangers do have a really good shot at this because of just what we mentioned. Number one, we have a front office who, is one of the more has the credibility. We got skins on the wall, but let's not forget we've got, Jacob deGrom will be on this team next year. Tyler Mahle will be on this team next year. We've got Corey Seager on this team. We've got Marcus Semien. So you're talking about legitimate, big time baseball players and personalities. And I think that those things help bring players like Sasaki to a team like Texas. And let's not forget that, the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and all the usual suspects, Boston, even the Angels are probably right at the top of the list of teams to compete for this guy. I would also think, don't forget the Rangers had a guy named Yu Darvish come over here and pitch for us. And
I love Texas.
Love Texas, and some of the most fun years I've had as a Texas Ranger fan, because Yu Darvish was great. He was just a walking media storm, attention and kind of has that superstar mentality. You know what I'm getting at, right?
He just was. He had star power. He brought a star power that most baseball players don't bring to to the stage or the forefront or whatever the case may be. But Rocky Sasaki's similar. to you, Darvish. I mean, he's kind of got same stuff, same delivery, better fastball. But overall, I mean, he's a very similar pitcher to what Darvish was coming over to the States from Japan. A little bit younger, so you've got that working in your favor as well. But he's just a guy that, I mean, he's going to overpower hitters with his fastball. He breaks them off, and he's just, he's pretty much unhittable over there in Japan. I mean, I think he's got like a one, little over 1 ERA through basically the whole season at this point. So, I mean, he's done what he can do over there. It's time for him to come and test his mettle in the next level. And I know that they don't like, especially a lot of teams that own the rights to a guy like Rocky Sasaki. They're not exactly trying to sell that until they absolutely have to. And I mean, at the same time, a guy with that kind of star power, they're going to find a way to get him to the big leagues as soon as possible as well. And CY being over there to scout, get on that right page. I mean, Darvish loved Texas when they were playing in the heat. So imagine what it's like there now, where you're playing in air conditioning every day and a pretty decent sized ballpark, and has kind of a feel of the dome and all of that. So I don't know, who knows really at the end of the day if that's going to be something that, the dome or any of that stuff is going to even be a needle mover at all, but I've been on this kid for 3 or 4 years. He's been just destroying the MPP. And so, I'm looking forward to seeing him over here get an opportunity to throw every 5th day.
Rocky Sasaki, let's keep an eye on him and just keep an eye on this whole thing as it transpires, because that would be another huge
and
addition.
I'm not 100% sure he'll post after this year. There's no guarantee that he'll post this year and be on that money-friendly, easy deal. But, you get Rocky Sasaki on one of those kinds of deals, it makes it a lot easier to walk into free agency and have a beat on a Juan Soto or something like that, too. Because you've got a top of the rotation type pitcher now that you're going to get for relatively low prices. And now you're looking with Rocker and Leiter behind him, as that could be 3/5 of your rotation that are all going to be on rookie deals.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Well, let's talk about before I actually want to talk about the 2025 free agent pitching market. Before we do that, Jose Urena goes to the goes to the IL. Garabito up, and we kind of talked off air about Urena is going to be definitely much more sought after this year during that free agent period than last year. Him and the Rangers both, it was like a dual thing here. Like both benefited huge from this non-roster invite from Urena.
I agree. Yeah, I think Jose Urena's been everything you could have asked for him to be this year. As the long man, filled in as a starter, did relatively well as a starter in the opportunities that he was given. Slid back into the long man role and gave them a fighting chance on a lot of nights where the starting pitching didn't. Jose Urena, a little bit of a tough break, shoulder fatigue. I mean, he hasn't really pitched a ton the last couple of years, just based on being up and down and shuttled back and forth between the minors and the majors. So he hasn't really logged a ton of innings the last couple of years. So this has kind of been the first time that he's logged. Well, he's probably close to 100, 110, 15 innings. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, he's logged some real innings out of the starter role, and he's pitched on a lot of occasions. So, shoulder fatigue, it makes sense for a guy that we're into the season. He's been giving it everything he's got since basically February 14th, because he's been trying to make the team.
Yeah, and I think this is a good move actually for both. It gives him the opportunity to maybe get a little bit not healthy, but like get rested. He's not, going to be, wearing himself out. He's not a spring chicken, but also for the Rangers, it helps them get another pitching
roster spot, yeah. And if
kind
it go, yeah, and he's another guy that if things get out of control, they can put him on the 60 if he's not going to make it back before the end of the season, which it looks like he probably won't at this point. But that gives you another roster spot for another young guy to put on the 40 man to come up to the 26.
Yep.
Owen
Well,
White, maybe, I don't know. The kid's good. Yeah,
I mean, Owen White's got to be a
he's
guy
already on the 40, so.
No, I think you're right. So 2025 free agent pitching market, we were talking off air, doesn't have to be a laborious subject, but last year it was a little bit wild. I mean, we got a guy like Michael Lorenzen for basically dirt cheap. One of the kind of steal. I thought he was a steal, and not only that, we traded him and got
It was kind of a steal. Yeah, it was kind of a steal at the time. So it's like when you did trade him, it wasn't exactly that shocking. I think it was a little bit more disappointing that guys like John Gray and those guys kind of hit the DL at the same time, and you weren't able to, you would have actually liked to have had Lorenzen around to make some of those starts after July 31st. But at the same time, you're trying to get talent, you're trying to lengthen deals, and you're not going to owe much to Michael Lorenzen, and you can bring Walt Pennington in here, and you know what, he's actually been pretty decent in the opportunities that he's gotten. He was putting a lot of really tough jams early on, and since then, Bochy's kind of put him in better opportunities for him to be successful, and he has been. So and again, he'll probably be in competition for not just a roster spot or a 26-man roster spot next year in spring, but he'll probably get an opportunity to start some early on to see if he's, in that position or ready to start games at the big league level.
Yeah, I think definitely what we did with Lorenzen, and I kind of thought we could have gotten, like you said, there are some other guys we could have moved and gotten something back for him. But I was totally content with how the Lorenzen deal went. Plus, getting a nice little left-handed guy that we needed was helpful.
Well, and I think also with the way that things kind of broke down at the trade deadline for the Texas Rangers, they were in kind of a mode where they've got some really nice pieces, and you could really imagine that, they were a 12-1, 15-3 run away from being right back in everything, and it just never happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more than anything else. I don't think that that deadline, sure. I mean, like hindsight, it's always going to be looked back on like, God, they could have got something for Yates. They could have got something for Robertson. They could have sent Heaney away. They could have got, Eovaldi, whatever the case may be, right? But, bottom line is that, they had defending champions. You got to kind of go for it if you're still relatively in it. And it just never happened. The bats never really came around to put them in a position to where they could get back into things. And they got as close as about 5.5 or whatever there in end of August, 1st of September or whatever. But it's just not enough consistent baseball to really, put it on one person.
Sure. Well, the 2025 free agent market to me really seems like it could be. I feel like it's going to be much of the same as we saw last year. I don't think you're going to see. I mean, you had Blake Snell. They're coming back from winning a Cy Young. You had Jordan Montgomery, who was the World Series hero, had the best
catalyst, at least for sure.
Best second half of the season, for one of the best second halves of the season for Jordan Montgomery. Those guys both didn't get contracts until spring training pretty much. And then you just saw really slow, I think it was Wheeler or was it Nola? One of those guys, Wheeler or Nola, both one of those guys got a deal right off the bat. We thought,
Nola.
Nola. Oh, here we go, and then that was
Nothing.
it.
And I mean, and again, we have to also remember how much of that had to do with the fact that they were Scott Boris's clients.
Sure.
That's another thing. You got to remember that. And I mean, I don't want to speak too ill of Scott Boris, but I mean, the man's basically the baseball antichrist. So I don't have any real problems with Major League Baseball and the owners standing up to him and making him struggle through a season of free agency. So we'll just see how things change this year as he's got another handful of guys out there. And I imagine Blake Snell will be back out on the market. And there's a good chance Jordan Montgomery sticks to that second year of that Arizona contract to see what he can do there in a second year. Or, hell, you never know. They get to the playoffs, and he might just be the guy that runs them through the playoffs again this year. So who knows? Who knows on that? But, there's going to be a lot of the same guys that were out there last year that took those one-year deals, the Manayas, the Lorenzens, guys like that took one-year deals and are going to be right back out on the market again this next year. And I don't know if any of them earned more than a 1 or 2 year contract that is going to, not that they pitched poorly, but, Severino, those guys, are they going to get more than 1 or 2 years? Probably not.
No, I
Probably
think
not.
I go right back. I go right back to what I'm saying is that, like I really don't think we're gonna see like that big of a change. I think it's gonna be the same kind of deal. You're gonna see a lot of guys getting 1 year deals, maybe 1 year with a player or a team option the next year. There's nothing to me that says anything's different this year than it was last year. You don't have any huge TV contracts being signed yet. So we'll kind of see how that transpires.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like the free agency market will kind of shake out where Juan Soto, he'll get his, and then we'll kind of see it kind of go like it did last year, where there'll be guys signing contracts, but they're not going to exactly be what we all thought they were going to be.
Yep. No, I agree. I think it's going to be kind of top heavy. And then you're going to see probably things slow down a little bit from there. Well, let's move on. Question. We had a question.
Hey, you want to knock out a quick commercial right here for Down on the Farm with the Boys?
I could. If you did not know, now you know. We have exclusive content. It's called Down on the Farm with the Boys. We cover all things Rangers minor league. It's where you make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers organization-wide. All you got to do is go to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
Or you can just go check us out on Spotify, just $1.99 a month. You can't beat it. It's been loaded with content all year, and it's only going to get better even as we go into the off season and start deep diving each different level of the minor leagues and really kind of going into what kind of seasons these guys had. So a lot of good things going on in the Rangers minor league system, and some really good names at the top of the list for the Rangers position wise. And then also you have a lot of Baseball Americas and MLB.com giving the Rangers pitching prospects a lot of respect, because the Rangers do have some really good pitching prospects, bullpen and starting wise. So we're going to talk about all of it. Go check it out. Big shout out to our farmhands who make it all possible. So there it is, Down to the Farm with the Boys. You ready to do some questions?
Yeah, real quick before we get into it, though, a nice article on Baseball America today about Blaine Krim. Just kind of talking about his journey and how he's, continuing to try and hang on for his baseball career. And, one of those guys that works hard, good ball player, it just hadn't happened for him just yet.
Yeah, and I think we had talked about him not too long ago. I think on our last Down on the Farm with the Boys episode, we talked about him. And, it's just one of those things, man. And it's funny because I've been checking out the players for other teams as well when we, when they play against our team and one of our teams, I'll go and check them out and see. And, everybody seems like they've got a Blaine Krim on their roster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. There's a bunch of really prime hitters in AAA right now that are just not quite toolsy enough in the field to play big league baseball. It happens. We've talked, Blaine Krim's been on our radar as one of the better hitters in the Rangers farm system for a full season, or for the whole time we've been doing this podcast, which is now almost 2 full years, So I mean, Blaine Krim has definitely been on our radar, but we've always talked about, was he going to hit for enough slug, and was he going to be able to play a position when he got to the big leagues? And those have been two questions that have kind of killed him. And then on top of that, this year when the Rangers needed help, Blaine Krim wasn't hitting at the AAA level, and that probably didn't help things for him a whole lot.
Yeah, timing it really is everything when it comes to that. Well, we had talked about Max Scherzer, and do we think that Max Scherzer will come back next year for basically you just got to call it a team friendly deal?
Yeah, or a bottom of the rotation money to come back here and pitch. Like, is he going to take $12 to $15 million on a 1 year to come back here? Is that going to be worth it to him?
I mean, we've kind of bounced this around a lot already, and I think my take on it is like, how bad does he want to be in Texas next year? I think there are some definite veterans on this team this year that feel like there is some unfinished business. And I feel like if anybody on this team feels like there's unfinished business, it's Max Scherzer.
I would tend to agree.
He struggled through the playoffs last year. He made a contribution to the World Series champion team, but not probably the contribution he wanted to make. And then this year, he could just never get on track. And you could see him try. I mean, he was trying everything, not just pitching, but coaching guys on the sidelines, like revving guys up. I mean, he was trying anything he could to contribute to this team. And it was like he felt like he could almost, if he had to, will it to happen. And so I think maybe the unfinished business piece could be a reason why he doesn't need to earn any more money. I think it's a respect thing from the Rangers, or any team for that matter, that you got to give him at least some respect money. I don't know. I think it's possible.
I think it's definitely possible. It also depends on what Scherzer's going to do. I mean, coming back this year, having an injury-riddled season and not being able to get it back on track, I don't know. Is that enough to say, hey, I don't want to try and do it again next year? And, Max Scherzer, he's going to retire as a Hall of Famer whenever he decides to hang him up. So, I mean, is it this year? Is it next year? Is he going to want to pitch next year? What's the case? Whatever the case may be. I mean, there's going to be a spot somewhere. There's enough respect for Max Scherzer in the game of baseball. And right now, I mean, I think there's teams out there that are looking at Max Scherzer and saying, hey, he wouldn't be a bad piece for the middle of our rotation when we need a veteran. And, the team that kind of jumped to me a couple of weeks ago when we talked about him was Detroit. And I can still see that happening with them having Skubal and being young in their pitching staff, but needing a kind of a veteran, surefire guy out there to go out there and take the mound every fifth day like Max Scherzer does.
Yeah, I could see it because he came from Detroit, so there might be maybe what you call tugging at the heartstrings.
Yeah. I mean, the Detroit Tigers were much improved this year.
No, I think they're very much like the Texas Rangers. I think there's a lot of similarities between both of these teams. So, well, hey, let's not get bogged down here. I think he'll come back. I would love to see him come back. I think he would want to, but I also agree with you that he might be torn between here and a couple of other places. So one other little tidbit. So what Rangers hitter do we think has a turnaround season next season? Not which Rangers hitter do we think needs to have a turnaround season?
Because if it needs to, it's every damn one of them.
That would be everybody.
Yeah. No, I think that the guy, in my opinion, most likely to turn things around next year and go back to kind of the player he was is Adolis Garcia. I think Adolis was going to try and come out and show that he was worth more money than he got with his kind of 2-year deal, and the Rangers playing kind of safety net where if both of them are bad, they can get out of it in a relatively easy way and not tender him a contract in 2026. So, I think he pressed quite a bit because he came out, he was pretty hot right off the bat. And then I felt like whenever the Rangers got into a mode where they were struggling to score runs, and he's been that guy that's been that RBI hunter, and this year it just didn't feel like that with him. It didn't feel like whenever there was a runner on second and third and less than 2 outs that he was going to, drive something up the alley and get both those guys home, or just dump something into the outfield and get them around. So it just didn't feel that way for him. There's other guys that definitely could be on that list. And you may have another guy that you think could be more of a turnaround than Dolly. But I think right now, I think that's kind of where I'm going with of those guys that struggled this year that could really turn it back around.
Yeah, I think I like Adolis Garcia, and just to pick a different player, and maybe this one is like not quite as like, I don't know. I guess it is right in line with Garcia, because I'm not picking a guy like Heim or maybe like a Tavares kind of guy, or even I thought Nathaniel Lowe was pretty good this year. But I think he could have been he and better. But my guy is Marcus Semien. Look, here's my deal with him, and this is just my promo on him. We signed him for 7 years. All I need in that 7 years, I already got a World Series. The other thing I need from him is I need one of those like 2022 seasons.
Yeah.
I need a 20,
45 and 100. Yeah.
Yeah, I need one of those from Semien. I need at least one of those seasons during this contract, and $175 million justified. This year was brutal. And again, like, what's funny about Semien is when a guy plays bad on a contract like his, it's easy for me to like turn on him, because I mean they've literally earned the right to get that kind of criticism. They've earned it financially. But I love the guy. I really just love the guy. I love watching him play. He's a guy, when you watch 162 games, he's good, man. Even the numbers just never tell the story of how good of a player he is. Defensively, consistency, always has. I don't feel like even when his average is down and he's slumping, he doesn't feel like he's having bad at bats, like as a whole. So he's a great ball player. I just want to see him have one of those, just not carry the team, but have one of those really breakout offensive years. And I hope next year is that year where he comes out hot and stays hot all year long. And we're talking about, him as a MVP candidate, because we know he's healthy, and I want to see it. So.
Yeah, and he's still, I mean, as much as he struggled this year, he's still going to probably win a Gold Glove. Yeah. I would say it's probably 80% right now. I mean, Jimenez is a great second baseman over there in Cleveland, but he hasn't been doing what Semien's been doing this year. And, I mean, you turn on the games last week, and Semien's still out there making just great defensive play after great defensive play late in the season when it doesn't really even matter anymore. He's still out there battling through it, making sure he plays his 158 or so games this year. And I love Marcus Semien. I want to see him get back onto that, MVP level or MVP candidate level that he had been at, in 2 of the prior 3 years before this year. So, I don't think that it's age. I don't think that he's getting so old right now. I think he's still got a couple of really solid years in him. And I think that, like you said, if he does get to a point where he drops up 42 and 115 with a 1,050 ops or 1,100 ops or whatever, we can really be, satisfied with, I agree with that. I mean, you know how it is. It's like Tom Petty will never be satisfied, but.
Right. No, I hear you. Well, all right, let's move on to our next question. I think we got 2 more. No, we got 1 more question, and this one's a fun one too. So what should the Rangers from here until the rest of the season? We actually mentioned this yesterday. What should they do roster wise from here going forward?
Well, I don't think they'll do a ton because they've got a lot of guys that are respected within the organization that they're going to let play out until their free agency. So I don't know if a ton will happen, but we are getting a chance to see some of the guys that we wanted to see. We're probably not going to get a chance to see all the guys that we want to see, but me and you will never get the chance to see all the guys that we want to see because we want to see all these young kids that we've been talking about on the Down on the Farm show and all these guys that are getting really close and becoming, not just Rule 5 eligible, but worth putting on the 40-man roster. So, as much as I'd love to see a lot of those guys, I don't know that that's going to be the case. But, Santos, Toyota, Acker, a lot of Rule 5 guys that they're going to have to make decisions on. Ryan Garcia. So, it's going to be an interesting offseason as always. What was the question again?
What do you think the Rangers should do off-season? Like, not off-season. What do you think?
Okay, yeah. Okay, I got you. What do I think they should do? I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to see starts from Rocker, Leiter, DeGrom down the stretch, but I doubt we'll see a ton of them. I'd love to see some of the guys that are close to ready in the AAA level get an opportunity to throw a little bit. I don't know how much that's going to be. The only problem is the guys that we talked about are, Mark Church is on the 40-man, but if it's Garcia or Wolfram or Alstrom or anybody like that, they're going to have to find a 40-man spot for them. And, it becomes you don't ever want to have to drop those guys once you put them on there out of necessity, especially with the fact that you're going to have them for the next 6 years if they do make it to the big leagues. So there's a lot of 40-man mumbo jumbo that goes into it that makes it difficult to just throw all the guys that we want to see on the field. But I think we're going to get a chance to see some of these young guys. I think we're going to get a chance to see the ones that are up for sure. And then they've got, some options with guys that are on the IL that probably aren't going to make it back if they need 40-man spots.
So give me some names that we already don't have currently on the 26 man. Do you think anybody that's not on the 26 man right now? Do you think we get a chance to look at any of those guys?
It's not on the 26 man, but it's on the 40.
28, yeah, 28 man. That's on the 40 man.
I think we might get a chance to see Mark Church before the end of the season. Obviously not Corniel, not. We may see a little bit more of Daniel Robert down the stretch, but I just don't know. He wasn't very good whenever he was given the opportunity. But they probably like to keep him through the whole offseason on the 40-man. So, yeah, just an interesting group of characters that are on the 40-man that I don't know that I really want to see them either, Garabito, I've seen a little bit of Garabito. I don't hate him, but I think he's more successful as a starter than a guy coming out of the bullpen.
Let's see. So I think for me, one of the deals that if the Rangers already know that they're going to put 1 or 2, 3, whatever guys on the 40-man anyway, once we get into the offseason, if it's not hurting their service time, it's not going to affect anything financially for the team. It's just a matter of them getting the ability to play some big league baseball at this level, like at this, really, this is the best segue you can possibly have because AAA is not the big leagues, but coming in the big leagues, like at the beginning of the season, that's playoff baseball. Everybody's in first place at the beginning, so pressure is really, really high.
Nobody's hurt yet. There's not a ton of arms already on the IL.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of optimism and the pressure is high for every team. The worst team in the league that thinks that we all probably know isn't going to do anything. Still, if they go on a little winning streak, like all of a sudden maybe it's a surprise year. So first of the year's got a certain amount of pressure. Playoff runs are tons of pressure. And then a team that's trying to get back into get out of go on a streak like the Rangers did. That's a lot of pressure. But now that you have a team that's pretty much out of the playoffs, this is an opportunity for these guys in a low pressure, low stakes, small little kind of protected window to get out there and play Major League Baseball and have some really no consequences kind of stuff go on with them. And even then you get to kind of play the spoiler against maybe a couple of good teams over these next couple of weeks. I feel like these are good opportunities for a player that maybe hasn't gotten to play any Major League Baseball up to this point. I think about Dustin Harris for sure. I think about Sam Huff. Definitely not a situation where Sam Huff needs the playing time or anything like that. He's played at the big league level. I think both of those guys on the position player side of things, it would be helpful. I would love to see them get a chance. When it comes to on the pitching side of things, you brought up Mark Church. I'm in 100% agreement with that. If we're going to throw I mean, we got Sandro Fabian already there. Like maybe give him a crack at it. And then, but if you've got it, he's not a pitcher, but I just saw him on the 40-man. I mean, I think I've seen enough Grant Anderson at this point to kind of know. I think I've seen Daniel Robert. I already know. Garabito, even same difference. I mean, I feel like Garabito is going to get a crack at making this team next year out of spring training. So we know there. But like Dustin Harris, Sam Huff, even Jonathan Ornelas, though that
is Ornelas up with the big club right now? I think he is.
I think he is, but it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard, just a tad with him.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of same with Fabian too.
Right. It's just just let's see. But I would love to see those guys. And then now a couple of names. So Ryan Garcia and Dane Acker, like the risk factor is you put him on the 40-man, and let's say nobody was going to pick him up off the pick him up in the Rule 5.
Rule 5, yeah.
And then now you kind of put him
on the risk, right? That's the risk you take.
But Teodo, I think for sure is going to end up on this 40-man.
Santos too. Santos
going to end up on the 40-man. And if they're Rule 5 guys, why not? Get them in here and get them 10 innings. Get them.
Fair enough. Well, one thing with those two guys is right now they're in a playoff series, or they're going to be in a playoff series in the next couple of days. So they're going to stick with Frisco throughout that. Hopefully they'll jump from there. They'll get some starts at the AAA level.
Like, what is a AA playoff game? What does it even matter?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, not that it matters or anything like that, but it's continued development for guys that aren't probably big league ready. That man, it's a way for them to continue to pitch all the way through the middle of September.
Yeah, I can see that with Santos. Teodo, I think he's going to be in the big league.
I think he'll move to AAA after the playoffs and get an opportunity to pitch some there too. If there's enough, it depends on how long they're in the Texas League playoffs. It could be 3 games, could be 9, or whatever the case may be.
Well, there's our 2 cents when it comes to that. Let's go ahead and kind of close out here. We've got a preview for a couple of games. We got the
Toronto, right?
Game series with Toronto, a team that's kind of in the same spot as us right now. The team that had high hopes. We had high hopes. I think either you or me picked them to make the playoffs.
I think I did. Yeah. Either way.
Was it
Sometimes it happens. That's why they don't play baseball on paper.
Right, but one of us picked them. So like,
I think I did. Yeah, I was a fan.
Well, they got pitching, they got bullpen, they got hitting. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Got star power. I thought they were so kind of the same situation. 2 teams playing for pride. We got Nathan Eovaldi against TBD.
Oh, he's good, man. TBD always brings it every time. Every time. You ever notice how TBD always shuts the Rangers down though? Like turns into some guy who's never pitched in the big leagues before, but somehow he's got 6 strong against the Rangers this year.
Yep. Every time, man. What's the
TBD?
What was the one cat? Flexen?
Oh, Chris Flexen, yeah. There's others, though. There was the kid
Oh,
from
man,
Cincinnati.
that's
Remember
so
the
right
lefty
there.
from Cincinnati that, like, the first 5 base runners got on board and they got like 1 run out of it and then 2 runs or whatever, and he shut them down the rest of the game. Anyways, TBD kills the Rangers every damn
Yeah,
time.
yeah. We should have a whole show just on guys.
What do we got? What do we got Wednesday?
Wednesday we got Bradford
Yeah.
going for the Rangers, and then TBD.
Man, we're gonna get beat up by TBD 2 nights in a row there in Toronto.
We got TBD
Yeah,
too.
man. I hope they got like Gosman going on the 3rd day for some relief
Yeah.
from old TBD just kicking the crap out of us.
Yeah, TBD all three. So yeah, that's what's happening. But we know who the Rangers got. We got
Rocker on Thursday, right?
Yeah, we got no, I don't hold on. Now we do have Rocker on Thursday and TBD. So Rangers out there. I bet their
see what Toronto does. I'm interested to see what they do. Maybe on Wednesday or Thursday when we're back, we'll have a preview for the pitcher on Thursday night opposing Rocker.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it let's give it the wrap for today.
Yes, sir.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
That's just one word, too.
Yes, it's just one word. That's where you can also check out our exclusive content, Down on the Farm with the Boys, where we cover all things Rangers, minor league. Big shout out to our farm hands who make it all happen. And also right here on the Sports Fluent Network on YouTube, you can see our made for TV beards in full effect. Watch our banter, and you can actually see when we make comments or we make silence. As you can see, 300 comments.
I'm always making weird faces at you, and you're always making weird faces at me, so it's perfect.
It's just worth the extra time to check us out on YouTube. All you gotta do is search Texas Rangers with the Boys.
The whole folder. There's like 100 episodes now.
Yeah, there is. There's a ton. So hey, we appreciate everybody for listening. It's not the end of the world. The sky is not falling.
It's baseball, baby.
It's just baseball, and honestly, it's going to be fun to.
And they're going to do it again next year.
Yeah, and take it all in. Watch the dadgum games, y'all. We got 2 more weeks.
Hey, Saturday night, I'm going out to the Bowlyard to get me one of them Corey Seager Cookie Monster bobbleheads for Mike's birthday.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out maybe one more game before the season's over.
Absolutely.
We got to do that. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. For the 300-pound manimal, this is your boy Kev. This has been Texas Rangers with the Boys. We're signing out.